And the last thing we're going to cover is blood pressure. How do we take a blood pressure reading? We need two things. We need a stethoscope, and this is used by measuring, listening, and while we're listening, this cuff is placed on the patient's arm, and this measuring gauge is going to change. It's going to respond to this pump. As we pump up that cuff, the measuring gauge number is going to change. And then as we begin to let out the air, we will hear it with the stethoscope and see the dial changing on this gauge, and it's going to give us two numbers. The first number is the systolic, and the second number is the diastolic. I want you to remember this little rhythm. Systole, 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 systole. I know I'm silly, but I'm just giving you a way to remember that the systolic is always over the diastolic. Okay, now it makes sense. So let's go. Systole, systole, systole. So what is the systolic reading? It's actually the pressure on the walls of the blood vessel when the heart is pumping. And then the diastolic is the pressure on that same wall in between beats. So we got a systole, systole, systole. Okay? Now, the systolic is the top number, the diastolic is the bottom number. When we are looking at a healthy, normal blood pressure, we're not looking at a single measurement. We're looking at a range. The bottom part of that range is 90/60. The top part of that range is 120/80. So if you have a systolic that is between 90 and 120, that's good. If you have a diastolic that is between 60 and 80, that's good. So 90/60 to 120/80 is within the normal range for a blood pressure reading, with the top number being the systolic and the bottom number being the diastolic. Systole, systole, systole. Okay, we're learning. We have to have a little fun. Okay?